Hello, hello, hello. How are you doing? Happy Friday to you. Looks like I'm a bit wonky maybe. Just waiting for a few people to join whilst I talk to myself. Hello, hello. Thank you so much for joining. So, how are we all doing? Bank holiday weekend here in the UK. We are celebrating 75 years since VE Day, which is a very solemn and special occasion. And there is more sunshine on the way, and it's also the end of week 7 here in lockdown in the UK, with maybe some changes coming next week. So hi Sonia, hi, and thanks for joining. Bradley, hi, how are you doing? Hope you're having loads of lovely sunshine where you are. Just saying, end of week 7 of lockdown here in the UK, and maybe we're going to have some changes next week. How are you feeling? How are you doing? How are you planning to spend your bank holiday weekend? I'm guessing for you, Sonia, it's maybe not a bank holiday in Spain, but here in the UK we have a day off today to celebrate the 75th anniversary of VE Day, so very solemn and special occasion. How are you doing? How's your family? How's business? How's your team? Interesting times still these. Maybe having some changes to our lockdown procedure, so we're very interested to see what's happening with you guys over in Spain, but also looking at Italy and other countries, and it sounds like we're going to start kind of changing some of our lockdown procedures as we go through the next few weeks. So let's see how that goes. Hope you guys are all okay. Thank you for joining. So it is absolutely beautiful here in East London, and yesterday I have to say it was very exciting. We saw grey lag geese. They are the ones with the orange beak and the orange feet, so we get a lot of those around here. But although I have lived here, we have lived here on and off for many years, 14 years on and off. The very first time yesterday morning we saw baby grey lag geese, and I was very excited. So if you want to see very exciting baby cute geese, then head over to my personal Facebook profile and you will see a little video that I shot. Very exciting, really cute. So that's one of the best parts of my day, actually, is the first hour of the day. My husband and I get up very early and we go and walk around the dock and check out all the new babies. I'm hoping to be able to share baby swans with you in the next few weeks. So how has your week been, and what have you been working on? This week I've been working on mini courses. Thank you to all of you who have filled out the very quick survey. There's still time to get your favourite topics logged. Just 5 short questions if you would be so kind. You'll see these mini courses start to roll out now over the next week or so. Lots of people have been asking me for them, so you ask and I try to deliver, and so I'm obviously open to suggestions on the topics that you'll find most useful, so keep your suggestions coming. So this week we're talking all about our customers. So a number of you have asked me to talk about this, and I know it's on many of your minds. So how to attract more customers, and very crucially how to attract the right customers, the right type of customers. So that's what I want to speak about today. So I speak to business owners all day, every day, as you know, and I know it's a really hot topic for a lot of people at the moment. I'd like to share my experiences and my views with you, but also like to know how you find your customers, what your strategies are, and what you're doing at the moment to attract more of them to you, if that's what you are focused on at the moment. So you know me, I am a simple soul and I do like to keep things simple. So today I'd like to talk you through my 3 simple steps to attracting customers. So the first thing I'd like to say about this, like so many things that I talk about, is that it's absolutely critical to get really clear about who you want to serve. Do you know what? It's so tempting to try and appeal to a wide range of people, especially when business is tough and if you're worrying about how to pay the bills and how to really make your business work. It's really tempting to kind of go, oh, oh, I could do this, and I could do this, and I could do this. But actually my view is that now more than ever, it's really important to decide who you are serving and stick to it. I talked, I think it was last week, about picking a lane and staying in that lane. Really, really important. Doesn't mean you can't have multiple lanes, but one at a time. Really, really important. And I want to tell you why. I know that you all know about niching, I'm sure that you do, but here's the thing, like so much of what I talk about and I teach on my programs, it's things that people know, but they don't necessarily do. And so even when we think we know something, it can be really helpful to have a reminder, and that's why I want to start off today just saying a few words about niching. So what do I mean by a niche? I checked out the formal dictionary definition, and it says niching is denoting or relating to products, services or interests that appeal to a small, specialised section of the population. And that's really the key. It's about a particular set of people who you can identify and speak to. Now, why is that so important? Why is it important to have that kind of particular set of people? I'll give you an example. So I'm a qualified life coach. That means that I'm qualified to work with people on career planning, relationship issues, money worries, health, confidence, mindset. The list actually could go on. The truth is that I can help people get clear about just about anything. I'm trained to do that. That's my qualification. But if I was to tell the world that I'm a coach who can help them get clear about anything, I'm going to get lost in the crowd of all the other people that can also help you get clear about anything. And you know what? I might get a few customers here and there, but it will be tough for sure. And I'm going to really struggle if I take that approach. So niching for me is actually about choosing. It's about making a choice. It's about telling the world what you stand for and what you do and what you don't do. And it's actually about calling out to your audience and talking directly to them. So all of my communication is about small business owners and entrepreneurs. That's who I'm talking to, and that's who I'm calling out in everything that I do and everything that I say. I'm talking to you about growing businesses and teams, and I'm telling you that I understand your problems and that I have solutions to help you solve them. And this approach then helps people to find me as an example, and it also helps people feel that I'm talking to them. It helps you feel that I'm talking to you. And people often come unstuck when it comes to choosing a niche. So they tell me, I don't want to turn business away, I can't afford to, I don't want to put people off, I don't want to limit my options, these kinds of things. I'm sure that you maybe have thought those yourself. I certainly did in the past, and I hear those quite often when I speak to people on this topic. But do you know what? I'm here to tell you that's actually not what happens in reality. The reality is that when you niche, you become an expert in your field, and so people know what you do and they can easily find you. And then what happens is something really interesting that maybe people don't expect, is that you end up attracting more people to you, even those not in your niche. But you have to niche first. So again, to use me as an example, you all know that my one-to-one work is with business owners who have teams and who want to grow. And I help them put management teams in place so that they can focus on growth and driving the business forward. You all know that, and even though not all of you fit into that category, here you are in my community and you're watching my live, and I'm thrilled that you are. You're here because you get value from what I'm offering. Some of you are clients of mine, and some of you want to grow into that sort of business that I just described, that I work with on a one-to-one basis, but some of you don't, and that's okay. You know what I stand for, and that either resonates with you or it doesn't, but it's hopefully very clear to you what I stand for and what I do. And crucially, it doesn't stop the kind of businesses that need my help on a one-to-one basis from being able to find me, because I'm clearly calling them out. So I hope that makes sense in terms of niching. So hi Paula, thanks for joining us. Sonia, have you ever had somebody pick the wrong niche? Well, it depends what you mean by wrong niche. I don't believe there are wrong niches in that sense. I mean, I think it's a good question. I think the point is you've got to pick one and you've got to get really clear about it. Hold on to that question actually, because hopefully what I'm about to say is going to help you, but let's come back to that if you feel like I haven't answered you and given you my thoughts on that. But I think clarity is actually much more important than right or wrong. That's my perspective. I mean, you could mean a wrong niche in terms of maybe they don't have the money or maybe they don't have the problem. That would be the wrong niche. But getting really clear about a niche, a section of people that you can really help, I think is really, really important. Okay, so I'm just going to add to them what I just told you about is I actually often get approached to do other things that are way outside my niche. For example, I get approached fairly regularly to ask if I do coaching, for example, for senior women in big businesses, because that's my background, but it's nothing to do with my niche. And I don't think I've ever put anything out on social or on my website about career coaching. But because I'm in a niche and it's clear what I stand for, then people will see me as an expert, as an authority in that space, and so they want to work with me. And that's my point really, is that by being in a niche, you establish yourself as an authority in that niche. It doesn't stop other people from coming to want to work with you and want to talk with you. The point is that it's not about what you can do. I've said many times in this group, we're all very capable people. Most business owners are very capable people. So it isn't about what you can do. It's actually about what you are actually choosing to do. And that is what is so critical. It actually doesn't matter if you've been in business for 10 days or 10 years. It's such an important business fundamental to return to time and time again. Who are you trying to serve? It's your choice, you know. There are people out there, back to Sonia's point about have you had people choosing a wrong niche? There are people out there who will want what you have to offer and can afford to pay you. So it does really come down to what you want to be doing and your market fit, which I'll come on to. It's actually just a question of finding them, but in order to find them, you have to be really clear about who they are. Yeah, so that is absolutely the first step. Being in a niche is a way to kind of cut through and reach more of your target clients. In fact, I would say it's the only way to really do that successfully. If you insist on staying general and trying to appeal to too many people, you will absolutely struggle for sure. So my strong advice and my first step towards finding more customers is to get really, really specific. Sonia was just talking about demographics, so we're going to come on to that. The more specific, the better. Some of my clients actually name their avatar and have a picture of them up on the wall, to that extent, that specific. So let's get into that now. Hi Francesca, hi Debbie, thanks so much for joining. Nice to see you too, Paula, thanks. So now let's say your avatar, for example, is a 45-year-old woman and you give her a name, Wendy, let's say, and she lives in Birmingham and she's married and she has 2 children and a dog. That's really, really specific, right? Now, does that mean that you won't work with Steve, who is a 30-year-old man from Brighton? Well, of course, that's up to you. But the point is that you speak to Wendy in your communications. And that helps you be authentic because you're speaking to a real person or a creation of a single person that you've created in your mind that you know that you want to reach out to and speak to. And it will resonate with all the people like Wendy who are out there. It might also reach other people like Steve in Brighton, and that's fine, but the key is to talk to Wendy and the other people and as many people as possible like her. And that is absolutely the key thing, and it will not put the Steves off. It might put some of them off, but that's not the point. The point is that you're trying to reach your perfect customer. I really can't stress actually how important this really is. It's really worth you spending your time on. I know that everybody wants to get all excited about social media and marketing, and we'll come to that in a sec, but this is so important. And because I'm all about the fundamentals of business, you have to do this step first. So I mentioned the mini courses that I'm working on, and you will be happy to hear that one of them will be on this very topic. So we're going to work through your target client, get really, really clear about them, make sure that you are in the right niche for you, and we get clear about who they are and how to reach them. I'll help you get super, super clear about that. There'll be a very detailed workbook and a video with detailed instructions, and also a working Zoom session where we go through and we discuss your work, and I'll answer any of your questions. So please get in touch if you'd like to find out more about that. Probably going to be the first mini course that you see, or certainly one of the first, because lots of people have asked me for this. So then on to my second step. Once you know who you want to talk to, then you need to get really, really clear about their problems. And this might sound straightforward, but actually it's really vital to get this bit right, and it's actually not as easy as it sounds. It means talking to the kinds of people that you want to serve and asking them about their problems, and really listening to the words that they use and how they explain their problems and their thought process. It's really about trying to get inside their head. And this is really important. You might not be your target customer. You might experience the problem yourself, or you might have experienced the problem yourself that you're now trying to solve. But even so, it's really important to talk to your ideal customer, to talk to your Wendy's, whoever that is for you. And as I say, listen to the words and listen to the way that their thought process happens and how they explain their problems and the way they try and find solutions. It's really important, because you actually want to be talking their language. Literally, you want to be using the words that they use. So I remember a few years ago, really quite early on in my business journey, I remember having a conversation with Sophia, who I've spoken about before, and she used this phrase of falling out of love with her business. She said, I just feel like I'm falling out of love with what I'm doing. And I was like, wow, that's it. That's such an important thing. And now, as you know, I use that because she said that, and I could see how much it really meant to her, and that was something that was really, really important. And since then, since I've started speaking about that, a lot of people have told me that resonates with them, and I've heard a lot more people talking about that, and customers talking about falling out of love with their business or with what they're doing. So really, really important to get tuned into that language. So in my experience, it's actually quite hard to can be quite hard to get people to open up, and it's definitely an ongoing process. So I'm 3 years in now to this business, and I'm still refining my language, and I still hear things almost in every single conversation that help me understand my target client better. So it's definitely an ongoing process, and something that you kind of have to work on and keep working on. So when I was interviewing people for my book, I found that really, really helpful, and I would definitely recommend you doing something similar. So asking people if you can sit down with them and ask them some questions, have a call with them, maybe for a blog post or an article that you're writing, is absolutely one way to go. And what I would say is that we're all quite wary of being sold to. And so if you make it really clear that the meeting has a different purpose, then that will help people relax and open up to you. And you really will gain valuable insights from the conversation. So we'll absolutely dig into those problems of your perfect customer on the same mini course that I was mentioning a moment ago. And if you're just starting out, it's really important to get 1 or 2 clients under your belt really early on, so that you can learn what they want and what they need. Even if that means working for a lower price to start, then you will be moving forward. Really important to get going with that. Get that first customer in and get their feedback. If you can't find anyone who wants to work with you or buy your product or service, then you might have a bit more of a fundamental issue. And it's important that we get that, that we find that out early. So I would just say a word of warning here to you. I would actually not suggest that you work for free. If your customer pays you some money, even if it's a small amount, I don't know, £5 or £10, the relationship changes in quite subtle but very important ways. They've paid for your services and they now feel like a customer. And that's really important. Working for free doesn't give you quite that same quality of experience and learning because the person doesn't feel like a customer. So there's something sort of psychologically about that exchange of money, even if it's a small amount. The point of getting started with some customers is that you learn such a lot, and the key thing that you need to learn is what their problems are and how exactly your solution solves them. Again, this might take some time, and it certainly did for me, that's for sure. But it's really important because this is the value, that's what you're trying to uncover, that your customer will pay for. Now, what I found when I started out, and this might not be the same for you, or it might have been the same for you, is that it's actually quite difficult to see your own value. It's actually quite, you kind of know what you know and you know what you're good at, but it's kind of difficult to see what other people don't know or what other people will be prepared to find valuable and pay for. That kind of, I don't know what I don't know, I think is quite a strong thing for a lot of people when they start out, and certainly was for me. And that's why landing my first customer, which I was lucky enough to do right at the beginning, and I was able to learn through working with Philip and his team. That was my first kind of proper paying customer, and I was able to learn such a lot through that process of working with him and his team, and I still do work with him and his team. And I learned a huge amount about what was valuable and what wasn't through that process. And Philip was actually able to recognise that I was able to help him without me really being so clear about being able to articulate it. So your customers, I definitely learn from every single one of my customers, for sure. So I'm going to ask you a question now. How often do you talk to your customers and ask them what they need? It's kind of can feel like a bit of an odd question, but how often do you hear of people who have customers and they find out from that customer that they've bought something that they could have sold them from a competitor, and you go, well, why did you do that? And the answer is, because I didn't know that that's what you sold. So it's really important to be communicating with your customers, not just to find out what they need and what they want, but also just to keep them informed of what you're doing. Our businesses are all moving so fast, and we're evolving and changing, so having that dialogue with your customers is really, really super important. I would say now is a really great time to ask that question. You need to meet people where they are today. And where they are today is not the same as where they even were a few weeks or certainly a few months ago. And so actually connecting with your customers now and asking them what is it that they need and what is it that they want. So as an example, again using me as an example, I've got my 12-week program, and that is a successful program, and people are still signing up for that, but there's been more and more demand for these mini courses because people are saying it'd be really great just to have bite-sized chunks of what you teach, so that I can fit that around what I'm doing now. Maybe I'm restructuring or rethinking about my business, and it would be really great to have just mini chunks of what you teach. And so I'm trying to respond to that request from my customers, and that's come about because I'm talking to them and I'm asking them what they want and what they would find valuable. Okay, so the third step then, once you know who you want to talk to and what their problems are, is to find them. Hi Claire, thanks for joining, nice to see you. So where do your customers hang out? Which social media platforms are they on? What do they read and watch? What are they interested in? What events do they go to, either online or in person eventually? And then you need to start a conversation, which is by its very nature a two-way process. Just because you might be online, it still needs to be a conversation, and a lot of people struggle with that. And I think that I'm trying to give you the learnings that I've learned over the years. And I think that to begin with, I was probably a bit broadcast, this is what I'm telling you, rather than hopefully now it being more conversational. And it's really important to be striking up that dialogue. Even if you're online, it doesn't matter, it still needs to be a conversation. And people make this bit very complicated. This is the shiny bit, right? And of course it can be, right? It can be really complicated. You need to figure out what the right thing is for your business in terms of that channel through to your customers. And we'll dig into that in more detail. Obviously, we can dig into that in more detail for each one of you individually when we're working in more smaller dedicated groups on my mini course, for example. But essentially it is about talking to your potential customers and letting them know, one, that you understand their problem, and two, that you have a solution that can take away their pain. That's it. I know I like to make things simple, but that really is it. People don't really care about you. I know, maybe, does that sound weird? And we can all kind of get hung up on, do I have the right qualifications and do I have the experience? And do you know what? People only really care about if you can take away their pain and if you can solve their problem and if you can do it quickly. That's what people really want to know about. That's what they care about. What you're selling is a solution, even if it's you that's delivering it. It's the thing, it's the solution. That's what they care about. They don't really care about you. Now, so take me for an example. Do you really care about all of my experience, how I am and what I've done? Maybe you do a bit because you're all lovely people and you're interested, and that's great. But if you have a problem in your business that needs fixing, the only question you're going to ask yourself is, do I think Lisa can help me fix this? That's it. That's the only thing you're really going to care about. If that pain is enough and you have that problem enough, all of my qualifications and experience and all of that, that's all great. You just want to know, can you help me fix my problem? That's it. So, I am not a marketing expert, and I'm never ever going to pretend to be a marketing expert. But I have spent all of the last 8 weeks when I've not been working with clients, those moments that I've snatched between working with clients, I have spent all of that extra time teaching myself about sales and marketing funnels, and also about Facebook ads. Very exciting. All very, very exciting for a self-confessed geek that you know that I am. I have built a whole automated funnel from Facebook ad through to an automated webinar, through to a questionnaire, and finally through to a clarity call with me. It's a thing of absolute and great beauty, and it's been running for 6 days now, and I'm already seeing results, which I'm thrilled about. And I will keep you posted and updated, so watch this space. Look, I've thought long and hard about even sharing this with you. I'm not a marketing person, I repeat. I am a people and process business coach. But marketing also has processes as well as all those shiny, sexy bits that I'm never ever going to pretend that I'm any good at. I am, however, a nuts and bolts kind of person, and all of my mini courses, just like my 12-week program, they're practical step-by-step guides to how to do the various things that you need to do in your business. And so I concluded that needed to include the nuts and bolts of sales and marketing. So why have I been teaching myself Facebook ads and funnels, you may ask, apart from the fact that I'm a geek? Why can't I get a member of my team to do it? And that's a very good question. But I'm the sort of person that kind of needs to understand something, especially if I'm going to teach it, because I want it to be practical and step to step, step by step and nuts and bolts. And also I kind of need to understand it before I can really give it to somebody else. Now, as I explained a few weeks ago, you can definitely manage people who are working on something that you don't understand. So there are several things in my business that are done by other people that I have no desire to get involved in. So, for example, web design. In fact, design in general, it's just not my thing. It's not something I'm good at. It's not something I'm really interested in getting better at, especially when I've got such great people in my team already doing that for me. I've got a fab website lady, Rebecca, and an absolutely fabulous designer called Josh in my team. So I don't really feel the need or the desire. I'm never going to be a good designer, and I'm never going to be teaching design. Let's be honest about this. But I decided that I decided 8 weeks ago that I do want to understand the possibilities that marketing and sales funnels can offer in my business, but also in your businesses. So I decided that I was going to teach myself the kind of nuts and bolts of funnels and advertising so that I can use it in my business, but also so that I can offer it to you, to any of you that are interested in understanding as a kind of a business fundamental pillar, not the shiny. You'll need to get help from somebody else for that. I'm always very honest with you. Yeah, I'm not going to stop now. I also wanted to figure out which bits of that, then once I get it, I know which bits I can give to different members of my team. So I'm not going to keep doing this. You will be delighted to know. So marketing is also not something that I really want to outsource at this point in my business. It's really core to me as I develop more and more online content, which has been part of my strategy for this year, even before this crisis hit, but now even more than ever, as you might imagine. So you might decide to outsource this crucial piece, this kind of conversation with your customer, to an outside agency, which I've considered and I probably will do in the future, but I would definitely advise you to get your messaging and your voice right before you do that. I definitely think in the past I've done that too quickly, and I'm glad now that it's kind of me back in the chair and it's my voice that you're hearing. I think that's really important to begin with. Anyway, so for me, I'm teaching myself, and I would definitely say nail it yourself first and get really clear about who you want to talk to, what their problems are, and what you really want to say. What are your core messages? So obviously, if you'd be interested in learning the nuts and bolts of marketing and sales funnel and Facebook ads from someone who is not a marketing expert, I will keep saying that, but who is self-taught and a bit of a geek, then obviously do let me know. I thought it might be fun to kind of teach you as I learn and as we go along, but your call, of course. So my 3 simple steps of customer attraction. Firstly, identify your perfect client. Give them a name. Who are they? Where do they live? What do they care about? Like, really try and get under their skin. Like, who is your perfect client? And don't be afraid of saying, this is who I want to work with. Yeah, because there are many people like that, and you can expand, but start really, really, really specific. And if you're trying to get more customers and you're struggling with that, I would suggest that you revisit that niching. So it might sound like something you only do at the beginning, but it really, really isn't. It's a regular thing that you should be revisiting. Anytime you feel like, why am I not getting more customers? It's about your niche. I promise you it is. Next, figure out their problems and how your solution perfectly solves them. So if you're in a good niche and you understand what that is and you're still not getting traction, it's about your offering. Your offering is not matching your client. Your solution is not perfectly fixing their problem, or you are not messaging it correctly. So it's about the right person, the right solution, and then clearly about the messaging and getting that through. Now, this is where we get into a bit of shiny in terms of messaging. I mean, my approach is to be very direct and just to say it how it is. I think that works with entrepreneurs and small business owners who are my clients. You will need to figure out, either by yourself or with my help, what is that messaging that you want to get across there, and then you take it from there. But I think clarity, as in all things that I talk about, is really important in terms of those 3 steps. So, like everything that I teach, this does require you to be organised and have a bit of a system. I do love a system. You need to track what you're doing and you need to prioritise your time. And that is where I can definitely help you, of course. So I want to share a couple of thoughts, sort of other thoughts on this topic of customer attraction before I leave you to the beautiful sunshine of this Bank Holiday Friday. I know there are a lot of people who are thinking that they need to completely repivot their businesses now. The world has completely changed and so must we, right? So I just want to give a little bit of a word of warning here. Your customers and the people in your network, they already know what you stand for. and they rely on you, they trust you. And so in a world of change and upheaval, just make sure you don't go changing too much as well. By all means, offer some new products and services or adapt to the evolving situation, but please don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. That's why I'm still showing up every Friday to answer your questions and share my thoughts. Whether there's one person watching this live or 20 or 50 people, I want you to know that I'm here, that I want to be a kind of a constant here. I want you to know that I'm not shifting and I'm not changing. I'm offering other things, and I'm trying to respond to what you're asking me for, but I'm still me, and I'm still showing up, and I'm still saying what I say. I'm still believing in what I believe in, and I'm still believing in you. I'm still believing that you can build a business that really works for you. And if I can help you do that more quickly or more efficiently and with less stress, then that's brilliant. But I want to support you, and I want you to know that I'm here. And that is so important in these crazy times, that you do that for your customers as well, and the people that you care about. So my final point, I guess, is that before you charge off to get all of those new and wonderful customers that we've been talking about, please give a little bit of thought to how you will serve them. Nice problem to have, I hear you say, but in all seriousness, is your business ready for growth? Do you have the people and processes in place? Please don't let yourself get overwhelmed by all this new business that's going to be heading your way once you get really clear about your niche and your customers and their problems and your messaging. I am here to help you scale in a sustainable way, and that is what it is all about. So I am going to close up today's live with two of my favourite quotes. I do like a quote, and last week when I shared a couple of quotes with you, I thought, why don't I do that more often? I do like a good quote. So for anyone that's just starting out in their business, my first quote is for you. And this is one of my favourites. You are not a business when you have a product. You are a business when you have a customer. So back to what I was saying before, I see a lot of people that spend a lot of time on product creation, a lot of time, and then go out to the market and get really, really disappointed and downhearted when the market doesn't buy. So much better to get really clear about who you want to solve, who you want to help, and then go out and ask them what their problems are, and then come up with solutions for them. And that leads me on to my second quote, and this is for everybody, however long you've been going, whether you've been going 10 minutes, 10 months, 10 years. Don't find customers for your products, find products for your customers. So speak to your customers, ask them how you can serve them. If you haven't already done so, please answer my 5 short survey questions so that I can make sure my mini courses are what you want and what you need for where you are in your business. And do let me know your thoughts, as always, on this topic and any other topic. Let me know what other topics you would like me to cover in these regular Friday lives. I would love to wish you, whatever you're doing this weekend and whoever you are with on this long weekend, certainly in the UK, I wish you a very happy and a peaceful time. And as always, if you want to talk, you know where I am. Take care, stay safe, and keep in touch. Lots of love. Bye now.